these great, fantastic shirts. So a little bit of a problem here, but we know as you stand up and you start stretching.
I've got extra large box, and then Andy and Amy have large. So
do you want us to raise your hands if you want an extra large?
Yeah.
That's everything. What is the other line? There's no way.
Extra large.
Who put their hand up that said they're the extra large? There, but you're not an extra large. Put your hand down. Okay, the extra large is, you got a big excuse, yeah. Okay, John, you can wrap it around your neck.
You don't need to announce it again.
Okay, Curtis is having the same problem over here.
That one over a jacket.
Welcome to our Carfax annual meeting. Tammy had a bet that we all wouldn't fit in the conference room. I can't believe that. You think it would happen? Can't fit in the conference room. I looked around here and I don't even recognize half the people. So just in case you don't know, I'm going to ask every other row to stand up. Just to stand up. So the first row's got to stand up. Then the third row's got to stand up. You got to stand up. Third row. And then the back row. Now, if you're in the way back row, you may, okay. Now, what I want you to do is if you don't recognize the people behind you, or even if you do recognize them, you got to turn around and introduce yourself. Shake their hand, hug them, I don't care what you do, just get to meet everybody. Say
Guys, how are you? Good to see you. Nice to see you. Nice to see you. Good boy. George. Hey, man. Pleasure to meet you. Looking forward to you scoring the goals on Tuesday. You hug me, I'll break your arm.
Okay, that's enough hugging. Enough hugging. Who's hugging you back there? We're all going to practice when we get back to the company and see if we can get in the conference room. It's a trick I got to have. Anyways, I have a big excitement here for everybody today, and I'm going to introduce our master of ceremonies. And anybody have a guess who that would be? Margaret? Everybody ready for Dick to come up and tell us what's happening at Carfax? Let's hear it.
Thank you, Kathy. Whoa.
Dick, this is the dancing section.
Oh, yeah, I'm not dancing. All right.
It should be Hail to the Redskins.
Let's get the Hail to the Redskins, just like Tammy's wedding. Let's get the show on the road here. Got a nice presentation for you. Here we go. Oh, it didn't work. Should we try it again?
You're coming up.
You're coming up.
Oh.
Okay, you're supposed to hear a car screeching to a stop there. It's a little bit, our sound effects haven't yet gotten there. But before I get started with the presentation, actually I'd like to do something that I think is even more important than the presentation today, which is to, maybe just turn this down, thanks, Donna. Talk about, I think some appreciation is in order, and I would like to recognize a couple of people in the room and give some thanks to the help that people have given us. First of all, I want to just thank Kathy for warming up the crowd. Been very helpful throughout the year. I'd also like to thank Tammy, where's Tammy up here, for setting up this meeting today.
Thank you.
Thank you. And David and his MIS group for making the AV here work. We have a new machine here. This is very exciting. I don't want to say how much it costs, but now we're going to have this in our conference room. Everyone's going to use it for a great presentation. So thanks to David and the MIS group. And also, a lot of thanks here. Also, thanks to Margaret and Scott for putting this presentation together today. Scott Fredericks did the PowerPoint presentation, and Margaret helped organize or choreograph the show we're going to have today. We have a little bit of a show today. We don't, not too small, but a little bit. So thanks to the marketing group and Margaret and Scott. And lastly, before I get into the presentation, I would really like to thank each and every one of you in the room here. This presentation covers a lot of things, covers where we've been and our vision and where we're going and our business goals and a lot of important business issues. But it's really important to keep in mind, and I try to do it every day, that nothing that I'm covering here today would happen if it weren't for what each of you do in this room. If it weren't for what each of you have done over the last year, and if it weren't for what each of you are going to do, whether you know it or not, over the coming year. So I really want to thank you very much for being part of Carfax. And the reason we gave out these shirts, besides trying to wake everybody else up, is because we are a team. And the kind of material I'm going to cover today in this annual meeting, which is really to give you an update on where we are, is really about you. This company doesn't, I know it sounds a little cliche-ish, but it's absolutely true. The company doesn't exist if it weren't for the work you all do. So I really want to thank you from the bottom of my heart, and a little round of applause for all of you guys, too. And that goes to the people in Missouri, too, and people in Detroit. And I know I'm going to get in trouble for Missouri giving you guys a presentation first, but next year I'll give them the presentation first. We're a big group out there now, too. So let's get started now. We had the car screech in. That's you didn't hear that. Let's try it. If we're real quiet, we can hear that again. We got that? Okay. All right. We're going to cover a bunch of things today. First of all, I want to talk about our mission. That's a fancy business word that really has to do with what our business focuses on. I like to think of it as a magnifying glass. And if you think of where we'll have a magnifying glass icon in the next presentation. What are we focused on as a business? What are we all about? I want to talk about that a little bit. Secondly, I want to talk about our vision. Everyone hears about the vision thing in politics. Well, in business, we have a vision too. And I think the symbol I like to think of for vision is a pair of binoculars. And when I think about vision, when we talk about vision, it's what's our future going to look like? What are we striving to become? Our mission is what are we focused on doing, and what are we all about? And our vision is what are we striving to become? Then some more mundane things. I want to talk about our 1997 results. That was a year that just ended. And then get into our 1998 goals. So that's the basic plan today. We're going to have a few interruptions here or there for some special events. So it won't be all me just up here talking. Hopefully we'll have some fun today, this morning too. So let's start with the mission. First part of the mission, and I'm going to basically read a mission statement. It says, we want to be the leader. And we mostly had some sound effects that didn't quite come out. Is that going to come on the next button?
No, these turned off.
Forget it. Sound effects off. Okay, that slowed the thing down too much. We do want to be the leader. We want to be, and we are the leader in our business. We are the biggest company in the vehicle history business. I think we're clearly the best company in the vehicle history business. But in order for us to stay as the biggest and the best company in this business, we also have to be the fastest company in the vehicle history business. I think most of you know that we've had this business to our own for the last decade. There really has been, we've pioneered this vehicle history business, and we've kind of been missionaries out there, so to speak. We do have some competition now. We have competition from the States, we have competition from the company with a product called Vingard. And if we want to stay the leader, we are going to have to pick up the pace in terms of how fast we move, how hard we work, and what we accomplish. I know we've accomplished a lot over the last year, a lot over the last decade, but I think, and I think rather than find this threatening, I would find it exhilarating. We have to move very fast in order to stay out front. This is like the internet speed type world. Every year is 7 years, and you're going to see a lot more changes coming up over the next year because of our need to be the leader, because of technology changes, and because of competition. So part of it is exciting. Part of it is going to involve a lot of change, and I'd urge each and every one of you to get used to as much as possible change. Change is just going to be the middle name of this company, as it is in many, many companies. But the first part of our mission is to be the leader and stay the leader. What are we the leader in? We're the leader in providing vehicle history information. That sounds kind of obvious, and that is our core focus as a business. In fact, what I want to do is even show you how focused it is by saying what we're not. We're going to talk about a couple things we're not in terms of vehicle history information. We're not information about people. We don't collect the names and address of the people. We don't talk about driving records and that kind of thing. Other people do those kind of businesses. Those are good businesses. That's not our focus. We also are not focused on general information about a vehicle. If a Ford Escort had a good insurance rating, or a Ford Taurus, a Ford GM something, has a good safety rating or repair record rating. We're not a business that gathers information about the car as a model in general. So that's not something we're in as well. What we are focused on is the history of the individual car. In our kind of jargon, we're VIN specific, or we're a VIN centric business. We're trying to find out everything we can about the history of the car as it relates to that VIN, that specific car. And that's a very consistent, determined focus we have as a business. There's nobody else that's focused on that as a business. And you'll hear me talk a lot about focus today, because I think that's one of our strengths, is staying focused on this particular business. So that's the second element, vehicle history information. Third, what do we do with this information? Well, our mission is to help buyers and sellers of used cars. And who are these buyers and sellers? There's a bunch of them. This is the sort of simplified version of the vehicle used car chain, from auctions to dealers to banks and credit unions, CU stands for credit unions, and consumers. We're in the business of helping each of these parties, and they're all involved either as a buyer or a seller. I put this handshake in there to show that relationship between the buyer and seller. We're not just helping one side of the equation versus the other side. We're on both sides. If you're a dealer, and dealers are our main market, that dealer both buys cars and he sells cars. If you're a consumer, that consumer buys cars and sells cars. We don't position ourselves as helping one side or the other. We're trying to provide vehicle information that helps both sides of that important transaction. And then lastly, what do we do? How are we helping these buyers and sellers? We're helping them make better decisions. And let me talk about that really from what we are now versus what we ultimately want to become. Right now, I would say in many cases, and we're moving in a different kind of direction, right now we're in what I would call the nice-to-have business. People have Carfax, they like us a lot, they use us, but they could probably in some cases live without us. Our ultimate goal is to make Carfax into a mission-critical decision-making tool. We want Carfax to be like a credit bureau, where you gotta run a Carfax report when you deal with a used car. So that's the basic idea of the mission, and I'll summarize it here into a mission statement and read it to you. To be the leader in providing vehicle history information that helps buyers and sellers of used cars make better decisions. I think a lot of you have heard that in pieces, but I just wanted to lay it out for you, give you a good sense of what our mission is. Okay, let's talk about where we're going to go as a business, and that's the vision. And I want to kind of lay out a little bit of a history. This is the very shortened history of the business. The first phase of our business I call the discovery years. That's really the first decade of our existence. Carfax started in the mid-1980s. This had been around for about a decade before Blackburn came and bought it. And in those years, it really established the basic concept of the business. And that concept rested on a fundamental product data, which was titles. So our database and our product consisted of title information. And our market, as you all know, has been in that period of time the dealer market. That's what we built our business around. And in those years, the business was very much just a regional business. We were focused in the Midwest, and I always give credit to Ewan for establishing the basic concept of the business. When Blackburn came in and bought it in 1983, he had figured out the basic product. He had gotten a market to respond to that product, and he was working on building up the Midwest. So that was phase one of our business. Phase two is what I call national expansion. And that's what we've all been living through for the last 4 years. And we are at the end of that phase. So if you see where I'm heading, we're entering into a new phase here. So let's just talk about the national expansion phase. The product or the data was in many ways pretty much similar to what we had done in the first discovery years. We've relied on title data as our fundamental product. And our market, our core market, has been the dealer market. The big difference is with the addition of New York and California data and all the other data that we have, we are now a U.S. nationwide company. So I often say when I say, what have we accomplished over the last 5 years, 4 to 5 years? It's really taking the basic business concept that was built in the 80s and scaled it up to a national model. And that's a lot, we have a lot to be proud of for doing that. The next phase is really going to be a pretty exciting phase. And we're not going to blow up as a company. I'm not sure. That's supposed to be, Scott, a breakthrough where we have a man breaking a brick or something. I was going to have someone try to do that, but they vetoed that. But this phase, I call the breakthrough years. And it's starting right here and right now with all of you in this room, and you're entering a very exciting point in time. And I don't know how long it's going to go. But let me show you why and how it's different than what we've done before. And it's different along every dimension. First of all, in terms of the data or our basic product, instead of thinking of ourselves as a title search business or a title history business, what I'd like people to think about ourselves as a vehicle history business where we're answering that fundamental question. I don't know if you can read it up there, but it says, what would you want to know about a car's history? If any of you interviewed with me during your process of applying for a job, you know I asked you that question. And I'm always asking people a question, so I always get some pretty interesting answers. And that is really what we want to be able to answer. You're buying a car, what would you want to know about its history? You all have heard a number of presentations, I suspect, where we talk about the kind of information that Jerry and Carol in the data acquisition group is getting, but we're looking at not just title data. In fact, just getting a little bit ahead of the game, we're planning the next year to load more than 100 million records that are non-title records. And I think that's just the beginning of the change in our business. And I keep on saying to people, I don't think we yet realize what a big difference that's going to make to who we are and what our product's like and what happens to our business. We've been titles up to this point in time. We're now going to be vehicle history information. So that's the first part of the breakthrough. Second part is the market. We've been focusing as our core market on the dealer market. We are now, as this slideshow is going to be focusing as well on the consumer market. There are 40 million consumers who buy used cars every year, and they are the ultimate drivers of this marketplace. Even for the dealers are the drivers of this marketplace. So we have, as part of our plan, you'll see it, made a major investment in expanding our consumer awareness and developing a consumer market. And it's not a consumer market that's in opposition to our dealer market. The two markets will work together, but it becomes a major part of our market emphasis. And then lastly, this is not as big of an issue, we're going to be a North American company. We've been loading Canadian data much more actively over the last year, and we want to play across both the US and Canadian market. So this is really a new business model for Carfax, and it is uncharted territory in a number of ways, and I don't want to pretend that it's not. There are lots of things we're going to learn. There's lots of mistakes we're going to make, God forbid. But if we don't try to do something new, we won't achieve what I think is our potential. We could, and I've said this to other people, decide not to have this kind of business model and rest on our own business model. I think ultimately that's not going to get us as far as we can get, and it's somewhat vulnerable to other competition. We need to constantly be moving ahead, and this is part of the moving faster. So that's the vision, and ultimately our purpose is to make Carfax a household name. You've heard that expression, I think, before, and let me give you some analogies of that. One of my favorites is the UL symbol, Underwriters Laboratories. And the reason I particularly like that is if you think of Underwriters Laboratories, that's helping both the seller of electronic appliances and the buyer of those appliances. The seller saying, I can stand behind my product, it's safe, it's been tested, and the buyer saying, good, I know that I can trust this electrical appliance. That's one nice analogy. The other one I like a lot is the Intel inside, where if you look at any computer, Intel advertises along with it as part of its guts. We want to be inside every single used car transaction and every single party out there who's playing in the used car business. We want to be part of that. I often say it's like Kleenex. When you think of Kleenex, the tissue, you think of a Kleenex. When you think of vehicle history, we want the world to be thinking of Carfax. So our goal and our dream at this stage is to make Carfax into a commonly held household name. If I'm right, is this the time we have just a way to sort of symbolize this and get you to see something else besides me talking. We have a little video, thanks to David Howard, that talks about making brands into a household name. As you probably recognize, famous sayings and brand names that are part of our culture. And even though it maybe sounds like an ambitious goal, we'd like Carfax to be ultimately part of that video at some point in time. Be a household name, as I said. Just to finish off this vision section, I want to talk about what I hope working for Carfax means to each and every one of you in the room, and means to anybody else who's going to join us. And we will have a lot of new people joining us over the coming year and years. And I think it's important that we translate this vision right down to an individual level. Just to personalize this a little bit, I'm very proud of having the opportunity to work for Carfax. I often say to people, it's such a great company, I can only screw it up. And I often feel that because it is such a wonderful concept. And I think it's important that everyone else that works for Carfax feels proud of what they're part of and understands where they're going and can walk home at the end of the day and feel good about what they're doing. So that's ultimately part of what this vision thing's about. And Scott's put together a little bit of a personal encounter here that illustrates this. The guy on the left is supposed to look like Steve Corman. The one on the right is my mother. I actually don't know who this is. I don't want to get in trouble here. And let's just say you happen to be at a party or run into at some sort of gathering, and the typical question comes out. What do you do? What do you do for a living? And Steve, at this point in time, is still employed, we think. And he says, I work at Carfax. So, right now, if he said that, people would be saying, huh, what's that? In the future, we want this kind of response. Oh yes, Carfax. What a great product. I wouldn't buy a used car without it. And then Steve, who's very cool, doesn't overreact or anything. But you know what he's really thinking, never mind. He says, man, I've got a cool, he says in his own mind, man, I've got a cool job. And ultimately, part of where we're heading as a business is to be in the situation where each of us can say that and feel good both about their job and about what this business is accomplishing. And this business's ultimate purpose is to make a profit, but it also is accomplishing something very useful in terms of turning an important purchase into a better experience for everybody involved in that experience. So that's the end of the vision thing. And I'm going to get results next before, okay. I want to talk real briefly about our results for last year. It was a terrific year. We accomplished all of our goals and more, as you will see. And I really want to do here is talk about our plan and compare it to reality. And as you know, I think it's real important as a business that we have a plan. There's some basic goals, that these goals are known and shared by everybody. Because if you don't know where we're going, what our goals are, you're going to have a hard time doing the job day in and day out and make the right kind of decisions. And not that the plan doesn't change. As you'll see, our plan changes a little bit. But it's always very useful to track how we did against our plan. So let's talk about the plan. First part of the plan, we said we wanted to have more data. And boy, did we get more data this year. Let's look at the reality of it. First of all, just in terms of numbers, we loaded over 110 million new records this last year. So we started with about 300 plus and added a little bit over 100, almost increased the size of our database by 33%. Pretty big growth. One big exciting piece of news, the New York data was loaded, and that made a big difference in terms of saying we're national as a company. And then lastly, we made a lot of data quality improvements. It's not just more, it's more quality than that. So the Missouri group, and Carol, and John, and the data group, and Jerry, really worked hard this last year. I think this is where our business starts. This is our fuel, and we were very successful in terms of our data goals. Second big goal was more dealers. We had a goal of 2,500, and if you listen carefully, I think I have some sound effects here. Let's do that. 2,605 new signups. Not all dealers, but primarily dealers. That's a tremendous accomplishment. There are very few businesses out there today that have this many dealers as clients. You hear about some big businesses like ADP and Reynolds. We are probably about to surpass them in terms of total number of dealer clients. There are not many companies out there that now have the degree of penetration in the dealer market we have. So, tremendous accomplishment. And it's not just the number of new customers they add, but it's what happens with our existing customers. If we were just adding customers and churning through them, Carfax wouldn't be the kind of business we have today. We have to really take care of our customers. We have George's group that's involved in doing that. We created some dedicated functions there, and we want to increase the value that they get from our service, increase the number of reports they ran. Last year, the increase is in the tune of about a 30% increase in usage per customer. So this is a wonderful business. Part of that comes because the longer a customer is a customer, the more they use us. And part of it comes because we take good care of our customers. So that was our plan. More data, more dealers, and more reports. And we really did a good job on each dimension. The interesting thing was we didn't stop there. Even though in our plan, those were our key goals, we actually ended up adding a new goal in the middle of the year and making a lot of progress on it, and that was in the consumer market. We entered the consumer market in a big way. We launched a website that was very successful and got people to buy on the website. We outsourced and got a partnership going with the phone center so we could answer phone calls on a 24/7, 365-day-a-week basis. And this was all done without, frankly, a lot of extra budget money, without a lot of extra stuff from the board. And we kind of came to them one day and said, not only going to make all our goals for the year we're totally going to make, we're also going after the consumer market. And I think it just shows the flexibility and the resourcefulness of people in this room and our organization that we're able to take, accomplish everything we set out to do and do some more. So I really think it was a terrific year in terms of FY97 results. In terms of the numbers, and then there will be a break here, we said we'd do 7.9 million of revenues, and we broke that. We did 8.1 million of revenues, so that's good. We always want to do higher revenues, we say. We said we'd do 7.9 million of expenses, and we did much bigger than that. I think we took the first idea a little too far. No, it's really not an issue. As you know, we are in a growth business. We are not planning or striving for short-term profits. We are striving for long-term growth and position. So the fact that we spent more than we thought, we knew we were going to do it halfway through the year when we started going after the consumer market, started responding to competition. It was part of the plan, so nothing to be concerned about. And we ended up with a slight loss of $300,000. So all in all, financially, it really was on target in terms of what we do. Again, everyone in this room ought to be real proud of the role they played in helping us achieve those goals. And I'm going to do a little break now. Is that right for Kathy?
Kathy's group.
Okay, for Kathy and her group. And then after this, I will turn to 1998, fiscal year 1998, and what our plans are for that. So take it away, Kathy.
I'm going to deviate from the plan. Margaret hates it when I do that. She's cringing. She has a look on her face like, oh my God, this is a big plan. And I actually made a bunch of lists here. I've got a whole notebook underneath. Just want to take a few minutes to thank the people, specifically in the sales group, that have gone out of their way this year. I know we've been through some tough times, some good times. I just want to say thanks for all your hard work. I know that every day is not easy. We've really had to depend upon a lot of people to help us out, the marketing department, George's group, everybody in the company, the data people, anybody around here can't. Sales is nothing without the rest of the company. We can't do it without you. We don't have something to sell if there's no data out there. So we'd really like to express an appreciation. But I also want to say thanks to everybody in the sales group. And what I'm going to do today is recognize the people that have been with us through fiscal 97. I don't want the new group of salespeople that have currently come with us to feel slighted, because next year you're going to be right there with us. So let me just take a few minutes, and what I'm going to do is ask you to stand just at your seat so we don't get the whole group disrupted. And I think I've done this in alphabetical order by first name. If I miss anybody, Margaret, I want you to say, Kathy, I forgot. Okay, so where's Al Sulak? Out, stand up. Just remain standing where you're at. You gotta stand out. You gotta keep standing. Come on. And we got Bill Shea. You may have to help Bill stand up. Bill's not a morning person, as we all know. But he's doing great. Look at him. He's standing up now. Curtis Selden, please stand. Debbie DePaula. We got a group of salespeople right in that back there. I'm also going to ask Greg Cleary to stand up. Where's Greg? Greg's not here. Okay. Gene Vinsall. Gene's back there. Okay. Jeff Graves. Where are you? Ken Anderson. No Ken. Christine Kelly. We're going to ask Laura Weigel to stand up. Part of our sales group. Mike Cowhill. Nora Amiji. Rich Klein. I know I saw Rich here somewhere. Rich, are you standing? Just kidding. He does that to me every day in one way or another. Okay? I had to pay him back. Sorry, Rich, you owe me later, okay? Val Register? Valerie, you here? And 4 people in the field that I know can't stand here, but Kathy Stein, Gary Nichols, Rob Austin, and Steve Sarconi. This is the group of people that got us through FY97, helped us make our goals. So please, let's just give them a round of applause. Now, before you sit down, I want 2 people to come up here, which are Rich Klein and Jeff Graves. And the rest of you can sit down. Thank you so much. What I have here is 2 plaques to say thank you to these 2 guys. They just stand around. These 2 guys are our top salespeople of the year for FY97. They worked extremely hard. We couldn't have done it without them. And they were neck and neck down to the bottom wire here. And I'm going to go on the record here to say that we still are trying to debate over one sale. But the official report from Andy said 238.5 for each of them. And pretty good, so please give them a round of applause. Thank you for a great year, Rich. Keep up the great work. And that's it. Dick, it's back to you.
Thank you, Kathy. As I said, we're now going to turn to FY98 and what our plans are for FY98. FY98 is our beginning of our breakthrough phase in this business, and things are going to be different. There's going to be a lot of change, and I think it's going to be an exciting time. In order to get us prepared for all the challenges and changes of FY98, I have, and I'm going to introduce you now to a consultant, a marketing consultant, that's going to be helping us work through a lot of the issues this year. His name is Bob Garman. Bob, please come on up. And glad you could come here to join us today.
Thank you for having me.
Bob has got an illustrious background. I'm not going to go through his curriculum vitae right now, but he's going to be a very important person in our business over the next year. And so without further ado, I'm just going to turn it over to Bob.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for that. I haven't done anything yet, but I appreciate it. Good morning. Good morning. I'm here to teach you new ways of thinking. We all are trapped in the way that we think normally. It makes it very difficult for us to think in any way other than we always have. So to begin with that, I'm going to ask us all to do an activity. Could everyone please stand up? Now, I need everyone to do what I do and to say what I say. When I go like this, tiger, rah! Wait for it. I need everyone to do just that. Tiger, rah! Good. This is the second part of this experiment. When I go Martian, I need everyone to go beady, 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 beady. Let's all try that together. Martian, beady, 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 beady. Very well done. Can I move on or should we review? I'll show you phase 3. When I say car salesman, I need everyone to go, hi there. Let's all try that together. The head bob is important. Hi there.
Hi there.
I didn't say car salesman. All right, let's go through those as quickly as possible. Tiger, rock, Martian, car salesman. Hi there. Tiger, rock, Martian, tiger, rock. You're in freeze in that position? Look around at your friends and coworkers. Now, I promise you that as I ask you to do things, don't feel self-conscious, because no one will be made to look more foolish than they do right now. Give yourself a big round of applause. As I said, the way we tend to think is in many ways limiting. Scientists tell us that we only use about 10% of our brain at any given point. About that much. It's vaguely disgusting, but it's true. We're going to try and look at things in a different way. We decided to look into the future today in a kind of a precognitive way to see who would do well in that exercise. Now, it's far from a perfect science, but we took our best guess at who would do the best tiger, Martian, car salesman. And under their chairs, we put little rewards. Again, if you don't agree with the results, blame the Ouija board, but if you'll check under your chairs, I think some of you will find Carfax bucks. Some of you will find chewing gum. Don't take it personally.
Daryl's a winner always.
Oh, yeah.
Put your hand up. And if there's an empty chair next to you, it's fair game.
I got a flashlight.
I'm going to, at this point, ask you to participate in an experiment that may demonstrate to some extent the power of imagination. It is an experiment in hypnosis, albeit a limited one. Now, if you don't wish to be hypnotized, you cannot be. It is a voluntary act. The secret of hypnotism is that you actually hypnotize yourself. So give it your best shot. If it doesn't work for you, don't feel bad about it. I need everyone to take both hands and link them together with the fingers interlinked. Now listen very carefully to the sound of my voice, and if possible, concentrate on it utmost. Imagine that there's a small capsule in between your hands that breaks at this point, and from it oozes a cement-like epoxy, a rubber cement, if you will, that glues your hands together. Press hard on it to make the fixative work. Squeeze as tight as you possibly can. If you imagine this strongly enough, even though in your rational mind you know it's not the case, your body will belie that reality. Squeeze very hard. Feel the cement moving through your fingers. Feel it intensely. Feel the fixative quality of it, holding your hands together as much as you possibly can. If you do this with the utmost focus, you will find that if I ask you to pull your hands apart, it will be difficult for you. The harder you squeeze, the harder it is. The more you envision the cement. Try to pull your hands apart, you find that you cannot. You find that it is impossible to remove your hands one from the other. Try now, try very hard. Try to pull your hands apart at this moment. Disturbing, isn't it? Some of you may find it easier than others. I'm going to, from this group, select people who I think might be good subjects for a deeper level of hypnosis. And I'm going to pick them more or less, I guess, come forward and see. Oh, look who's already here. A warm round of applause for our volunteers. What we're going to try now is a brief experiment in a slightly deeper level of suggestion. I'm going to ask these three people seated here to stare into this disc. As I count backwards from 10, I want you to relax your bodies piece by piece. Very peaceful, very easy. Allow yourself to be very quiet, very calm. I'm counting back from 10 now. Allow your eyelids to become heavy. 9. I'm going deeper into a state of relaxation. 8, 7. More peaceful. Allow your eyes to close at their own weight because that's what they want to do. Very relaxed, very peaceful. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You're in a very peaceful place where the sound of my voice reaches you. I'm going to make some suggestions to you. As I do, they will seem absolutely real in that moment. Imagine now that you're in a very comfortable place. Pretend it's a beach for that matter. You're on a beach in a very happy, a very safe, a very warm environment. You're sitting out looking over cool water on the sand. As you sit on this beach, you notice it's a warm day. It's a very warm day, and because of tropical conditions and hurricane factors, the temperature begins to rise. It becomes actually a hot day. The temperature is getting higher. You can feel it in your bodies. It's getting to be about 90 degrees, and the temperature is rising. We're getting hotter and hotter. It's almost 100 degrees now. Your clothes are clinging to you. You can feel them. You want to breathe, but you can't. The temperature is getting hotter and hotter and hotter. You pull at your clothes, but there's nothing to do to cool you. It's unbearably hot. You have never been this hot in your life. By God, the heat is maddening. At the same time, the temperature begins to drop. The temperature is dropping now. It's getting cooler. It's getting cooler. It's getting absolutely fall-like. It's about 70 degrees. It's very refreshing. It's cool. It's 60 degrees. It's almost winter. You're moving into a very cool, it's 50 degrees. The temperature is dropping radically now. You're 30 degrees and you're outside in the cold. You're freezing to death. Cling to each other as your only source of warmth. It's all you can do. Cling to each other because you're freezing to death as desperately as you can for your own sake before your life. Hold each other and then let it go. And let it go. There. Let it go. It's over now. You're in a normal room temperature, staying very relaxed. All right, I'm talking to the people whose hand I'm touching on my shoulder now. You can return to your seat at this point. In order, you can also return to your seat. I'm talking now to the man whose hand I have on my shoulder. Listen to the sound of my voice. I want you to look towards the future. I want you to see the 3 keys for success in your business. As I tell you these things, you will hear them, you will believe them, you will not remember that I have told them to you. The first key is longer vacation time for employees. Very much longer. You want there to be longer vacation time. The second key is open bar Fridays employee appreciation days. You will remember these ideas as being your own. They will seem brilliant to you. You will not be able to let them go. The third and final key is regional summit meetings in the Bahamas. This will seem like a brilliant idea to you, and you will believe it to have been your own. You will not remember that I have told you this. In a moment, I'm going to bring you out of the trance with a snap, and you will go on feeling awake, feeling refreshed, feeling good, not remembering the things I've said to you. Stay very relaxed, and wake up. A big hand for our
Well, that was different. Where was I? Well,
FY98.
oh yeah, that's right. FY98 results. Well, thanks, Bob. As you see, we have some changes in store for the coming year. And now getting back to the business side of the presentation, I'd like to turn to FY98. We did those. As I said, we are going to lay out some goals and track them throughout the year like we've done every year. And there's going to be a theme to our plan for this year. And I think you'll see it unfold in just a few minutes. Still trying to recover from the previous experience, so I think we'll get in the swing of things here. Everyone should recognize this as a baseball diamond. Those who are athletically handicapped, that's what this is supposed to represent. And, we have a theme here of more. And let's go through the different parts of more. More data, more business subscribers, and you'll notice that I'm not just talking about dealers now, we're expanding our business goals. More reports, more usage from our business subscribers, and lastly, more consumers. This is our basic business plan for the year. If we can get to all those 4 goals, we will be hitting a home run. And that's our theme for 1998, is hitting a home run. In fact, we're going to have a few props thrown out here for hitting a home run. And I'm going to need a volunteer for each. Kevin?
The baseball
Yes. Well, section by section, I'll have a volunteer. We won't pick them the whole time. You can't use the bat on me, Kevin, okay? Okay. Let's hold on just a second. We have an ad going to record your Kevin. What I want to do is, there's some element of seriousness here. I want to walk through each goal in our plan And at the end of each goal, we'll let Kevin hit out a few Nerf balls. And these Nerf balls are redeemable for a Carfax Trinkets and Trash prize. Is it of their choosing or?
No, it's the flashlight with the little headlight that flicks on and off, the little yellow keychain.
My kids like those a lot. All right, let's start with more data. Data is the fundamental fuel of our business, and this year, like previous years, this is going to be a major emphasis of our business. One of the goals for this year is a data quality goal. We want to bring 15 states up to a new level of data quality that is going to require quite a bit of investment. So we're not just focused on new sources of data, we're also taking some of our existing state sources and bringing them up to a new level of quality, which we're calling A-level quality. Second major data goal is to load 10 new data sources that are non-title related. We have, as I said before earlier, I expect in the coming year we will load over 100 million records that represent non-title sources. And if you compare that to our current 400 million plus record database, that's a major change in the kind of information we're putting into our database. This is the kind of information we're loading. Emissions and odometer data. We will probably, I think most of you are familiar with this area that Carol and Jerry and her group have been working on. We will be getting data from California and New York and Florida that's on an annual basis showing the odometer reading every year for a car every other year. So instead of just having that picture every 5 years, we'll be tracking the car year in, year out. We think that'll be a major, major breakthrough in terms of the kind of information we provide for our customers. We'll also be loading a database of about 50 million records on vehicle use data. This is it's a terrific new source. It's for the last 5 years, every single car that's been registered and what their use was at the point of registration. So whether they're rental use or taxi, police, private, government, etc. So every single car in the last 5 years will now be use coded, and that'll become part of our information. I think that's going to be one of the really big breakthrough databases. And then lastly, we're hoping to get some, as part of the emissions data, some recall data, where we can say whether or not the car's recall has been fixed. So those are the data goals. Kevin, why don't you knock a few out of the park here for us? And,
Take cover.
Watch
Watch the TV.
All right.
Oh boy. Go ahead, Gerald.
I'm wrapping up today.
It's going light on.
Thanks, Kevin. Good job. Okay.
Kevin, are you excited for us?
So those are our data goals. Let's turn to the second part of our hitting the home run strategy, more business subscribers. Here you'll notice that instead of just talking about dealers, we're talking about the entire business market. Dealers, auctions, and financial institutions, credit unions and banks. And before I announce the big goal here, we need a new volunteer. We have another baseball hitter.
Mike, how about, come on up. No?
Bill Shea. Bill Shea.
Bill.
Go Shea.
Wow, Bill. Yeah, be careful of the little toy together. You can throw it too. Yeah.
What'd you call?
All right, thank you. And our goal for the year is 4,000 signups. This is an ambitious goal. I'm not going to pretend and it's not. We did 2,600 last year, we did 1,600 the year before. I think that with all that we have going for us, in terms of the people we have here in this room, the people we're going to add, and where our business stands, it's a doable goal, but it's definitely ambitious. And I think it's amazing that we can even put forward a goal like that and have the resource behind it to give it a good shot. So Kathy and her group and Brianna have a big job in front of them, and they're going to need, as Kathy said, the support of everybody in this room in order to make that kind of goal. How are we doing so far on the goal? You ready to sign up? Okay, so that's the second big goal. Third is more reports. We have a couple of sub-goals here I want to talk about. First is what I call 15% buyer assurance. We want our customers, I know we talked about this a lot last year, to use our reports to help them sell, not just to protect themselves. We call that buyer assurance. 15% buyer assurance means that 15% of the time when you get a report, you're actually showing it to a consumer. And right now that number stands at around 9%. So that's a 50% increase in the number of times that dealers in particular credit unions use our information to help them sell. Big important part of our business goal. Second two goals were a general boost in usage of 20%. And this year, a new goal under sort of the whole reports usage area is customer retention. We now have almost 5,000 customers, depending on how you count them. And it's very important that we stay focused on keeping those customers and not losing them and not churning our customers. 85% customer retention is an excellent, very healthy number. I think we need to do more than that. George thinks that, where's George? Piece of cake, right, George? Yeah. And George doesn't want. So those are our goals there. We need another volunteer. Who wants? Anybody want to bet?
Randy?
No.
Margo?
Margo.
Come on, Margo.
Margo wants to volunteer.
You want to just throw me out?
Yeah, I think so.
Let's stand in the middle so you can get.
Yeah.
Spin her around first and then let her.
I'll spin it.
All right. And then the last major goal for FY98 is more consumers. This has now become an explicit and a very important part of our business strategy. In fact, this part of our business strategy is so important that when we put our business plan together, we said to the board, we need a special investment to help us go after the consumer market. And just to round the numbers, we got from the board $1 million to spend on a consumer marketing campaign. And when I say consumer marketing campaign, I mean a campaign that's oriented toward making the consumers aware of who we are, but also helping the dealers become aware of it and having the consumer walk into the dealer and say, can I have a Carfax report? So when you think of some of our goals here in terms of increased number of reports and increased number of signups, a lot of this is going to be helped by our consumer awareness and strategic marketing campaign. $1 million is, a lot of money for this size business. You'll start to see some ads coming out. David Howard and Ben and his group are working on them. We had an ad on National Public Radio, a little underwriting ad under the Click and Clack guys, the car talk, car repair guys. We have a radio spot coming out on the NASCAR race series that I think is pretty clever. Radio spot that there's a Psychic Friends Network theme to it, believe it or not. Got a new agency, kind of got to let them do their magic. We also are planning to have a USA Today ad about Carfax, a full half-page ad. So we're putting our money behind this consumer market, and we're going to be very serious about going after it. Got a couple of specific goals. One is we're going to launch a new consumer report, and Steve Corman has been working very, very hard on that. I think it's incredibly exciting what we've done in this report, and we've done some research recently that shows that both our dealers and the consumer customers love this new report. So we have a nice, clean format, a lot easier to understand, adding a lot more data. This will become, I think, in many ways, our new flagship product, the new consumer report. We want to sign up and have 75,000 consumers buy reports from us next year. That's a pretty ambitious number. I think we can make that number, and mainly that'll be over the phone and through the web. And we also want to sign up 6 partners, what I call Carfax resellers. We already have signed up, and this is preliminary, confidential. Bill Goldstein, the chairman of Carfax, has been working very hard over the last year on developing a relationship with the credit union industry. And there's a group called CUNA, Credit Union National Association. He's bringing down with him tomorrow a contract from CUNA where the entire credit union industry is endorsing Carfax and going to be marketing Carfax through all the credit unions. And again, I think that will make a big impact on your ability in this room to meet your other goals. We're looking at signing up with some resellers. We also have some relationships with AAA clubs and those kind of partnership arrangements. So I think that this is a very exciting new part of our business. The most important thing I would say to you is we're serious about it, and it's also designed to help every other part of the business. If you think of our data goals and what we need to accomplish there, if you have a data partner that we're talking to, we want to get some information from them, and they've heard about us through USA Today or NASCAR, we're just much more credible in their minds and much more likely to get a data deal. If you're signing up a dealer, I mean, you know how that happens. That when we get this press out there, the dealers finally say, yeah, maybe I should. It's time to do it. I've been hearing about these guys. They're serious. If we're talking about usage, same thing. If that consumer walks in there and asks for a Carfax report, that's going to boost that customer's usage. So this is a major new investment for us. It's an exciting area to go into. You'll start to see us under the lights, and I think it's going to make a big difference in how our business grows over the next year. If I'm right, this should be the end.
Oh, we got one more set of balls.
Oh, one more set of balls. Got new, one last volunteer.
Mike McCratchy.
Come on, Mike.
Get up here, Mike.
Hi.
Use a bat, too, right? Good boy.
It's too early, that might.
Come on, use the bat. Going like that, Mr. Go.
Oh. Sticky, you hit Randy?
Oh. Thank you. So I think that just about closes it for the day. I appreciate you all taking the time to come out here, and I will be reporting back to you in 3 months on how we're doing in terms of the business plan. Again, this all ultimately is about you, the people in this room, the people in Missouri, what you've accomplished and what you plan to accomplish. I think it's an exciting period of time to be with Carfax. I know it's going to be a lot of hard work. There's not going to be much time to lie around, take vacations, be on the beach, or anything like that. This is all about hard work. And again, I thank you very much for being part of this company, and hope we'll be hitting a home run in the future. So without further ado, I think that's the end of my presentation, and have a good day. No idea where'd that come from. That's it, guys. Just a little schmaltz out of here.